Hey guys, Chris again from ClassicVWBugs.com, and in this tip I want to talk to you about winterizing your bug. Has it come to the time of year where show season has stopped, cold weather is starting to come in, snow, ice, sleet, rain, raw, salt, sand on the roads starts to come into your season. Depending on where you live, it's going to come time where you have to put your car, your beloved Beetle or Volkswagen, into storage, basically winterizing it until the spring. I get emails like this constantly, especially from people that are up here in the Northeast where I live in New York. You hit into November time and the weather starts to get really cold. We start to get some snowstorms, and it can last here until maybe April or sometimes even May when the weather starts to finally break. So people always ask, what do I do to winterize my bug? For my opinion, personally, I don't like to winterize my bug per se. I mean, yes, I keep them indoors, but I still try to run the car at least once or twice a week, if you can, or even more. If you don't have access and you have to put the car into a storage area and you can't always get there, there's other things that you can do to prepare the car for winter. But my best solution for winterizing your bug is, do try to run it. If there's no salt or sand on the roads and it's really not that bad weather outside, and even if it's a little chilly, you know what? Get that car running, because these cars were made to run. And they were utilitarian type vehicles back in the day. And I know we keep them as show cars right now, but the best thing you can do for that car is to take it for a spin every now and then just to stretch its legs. But if you cannot do that, the best thing you can do is, put it into storage. You're going to probably want to buy maybe a battery tender. Just because, the cold will drain a battery, whether it's 6 volt or 12 volt. 6 volt, forget it. Give it a couple of weeks, 3 weeks even at most, and the battery will be pretty much dead if you haven't run the car and if it's really cold. The other thing you're going to want to do is, if you're not going to run it for a while, you want to get a product called Stable. Now, they sell those at AutoZone. It's just it's an additive you put into the fuel to stabilize the gas so it doesn't get all gunky. And because they give gas fuel 60 days and it starts to break down, and it's not really the greatest condition to be running through your fuel system once your gas gets that old. So my best solution for something like that would be to drain the gas tank. That's probably the best thing you can do for the winter time. But if you have a full tank of gas and you don't want to drain it, I would throw some Stable in there. But just be prepared when springtime comes around. Your car might not start like that, so you might have to work it a little bit. But that's why I say I like to run the cars periodically throughout the year, throughout the winter months rather. But if you're going to also put it in storage and you're not going to be able to drive it, some people, they do recommend putting it up on jack stands. The best thing you can do is you can go to AutoZone or any auto parts store. They usually sell the jack and the stand kits, and you can buy those. And basically you're going to want to jack the front end up and put the stands underneath the front beam, and then in the back, I like to jack my cars up, from just between the tranny and the motor. There's a nice plate under there, and you can jack the car up there, and then put the two stands under the torsion areas, like I show here. And you do this because you don't want the tires to sit for a long time, and basically if they do sit for a long time, they can become what they call out of round. And then now you'll start to hear that when springtime comes around, you'll start to hear like a wobble, or like a humming sound every time every revolution of the tire, you're going to hear something, basically now because the tire's out of round. So, but that's basically it for winterizing your bug. If like I said, the best thing you can do is drive the thing, or even at least get into your garage area or your storage facility and run it. For maybe half an hour or so, 45 minutes to an hour, just to get its fluids going and things like that. But other than that, that's really it. So if you got any questions or comments, email me, Chris at ClassicVWBugs.com, or visit my website, www.ClassicVWBugs.com. Take care.